A Russian soldier, named in reports only as a recruit, steps out from a concealed dugout, 10 kilometers behind what used to be the front line. He's not attacking anyone. There's no gunfire yet. He's just moving to the next tree line, a checkpoint on a map somebody else drew. It's the kind of walk that in almost any other war in history wouldn't even count as combat. He doesn't make it. Here's the part that should stop you. He wasn't shot. He wasn't caught in an ambush. A camera thousands of feet up spotted him from a drone that had already been circling for hours, and from the moment he was seen, he had less time left than it takes to watch this video. That's not an exaggeration for effect. It's close to a real number, one that came out of the mouth of the CIA Director himself. And it's both completely true and almost completely misleading at the same time. Stick around, because the real explanation is stranger than the headline. In mid-2026, at a defense summit in Pennsylvania, CIA Director John Ratcliffe told the room something that made global headlines within hours. Russian recruits arriving on the Ukrainian battlefield right now have an average life expectancy of just 20 to 30 minutes. He attributed it to one specific cause: cheap AI-guided Ukrainian attack drones that have become, in his words, dangerously specialized and highly effective. This wasn't a leak. It wasn't speculation from an anonymous blogger. It was the head of America's intelligence service, on the record, confirming a number that had already been circulating in Russian military circles for months. But here's where the math gets uncomfortable. If every Russian soldier was genuinely lost within half an hour of reaching the battlefield, the war as we know it would be mathematically impossible to sustain. Russia would be burning through its entire committed force multiple times a week. Analysts have pointed to something else that quietly contradicts a literal reading of the stat: body exchange records. Over the past 2 years, Ukraine has received more than 18,000 bodies of Russian soldiers back through exchanges, while Russia has received well under 1,000 Ukrainian bodies in return. That imbalance tells you casualties are real and lopsided, but it doesn't look like a battlefield where the clock runs out in single-digit minutes for everyone who steps into it. Analysts have also noted that even a generous estimate, accounting only for confirmed losses, not wounded or captured, falls well short of the raw 30-minute lifespan framing on its own. This is where it gets interesting. The 20 to 30-minute figure didn't originate with satellite data or classified intercepts. It traces back to Russian military bloggers themselves, soldiers and ex-soldiers writing from inside the war, describing what happens to fresh recruits. Their claim was more specific than the headlines suggest. From the day a recruit arrives at a training ground to the day their service ends in combat is typically 10 days to 3 weeks. And once that recruit is actually ordered onto an assault, a deliberate push toward Ukrainian lines, survival on that specific action is what drops to the 20 to 35-minute range. In other words, the 30 minutes was never meant to describe an entire deployment. It was describing one specific terrifying moment, the assault itself. And that assault doesn't look anything like Omaha Beach or a World War I trench charge, where you go from safety to a wall of gunfire in one motion. Russian infantry tactics right now are built around tiny infiltration teams, 1, 2, maybe 3 men, pushed forward checkpoint by checkpoint, tree line by tree line, sometimes over days or weeks, toward a final position somewhere inside what used to be Ukrainian-held ground. Most of that movement happens under constant aerial surveillance. Long-endurance reconnaissance drones loiter overhead for hours, watching. The moment a soldier is spotted moving between cover, that sighting gets relayed to a strike team, and a first-person view drone is launched to hunt that exact target down. Here's the part almost nobody explains. Even a perfectly launched strike drone takes real time to reach a target, sometimes 10, 15, even 20 minutes just in flight time. So if the average time from spotted to struck really is 20 to 30 minutes, that's not a soldier meeting his end the instant he steps onto a battlefield. That's the physical travel time of the weapon that's hunting him. Meaning the real, defensible version of this statistic is this: once a Russian soldier is visually detected during an assault, the average time until a drone strike reaches him is around 20 to 30 minutes. Not from arrival at war, not from being sent to the front, from the moment a camera in the sky locks onto him. That soldier might have already survived in a frontline basement, resupplied by drone-dropped food and ammunition for 2 or 3 months before that moment ever came. This isn't a technicality. It changes what the statistic tells you about the war. It's not describing mass losses across every soldier who shows up. It's describing something arguably scarier: total, permanent surveillance of the battlefield. Drones with AI targeting have made it so that stepping into the open, even for a few minutes, even far from the actual front, is now one of the most dangerous decisions a soldier in this war can make. Russian units have started calling assault orders a one-way trip, not because everyone is lost instantly, but because once you're seen, the clock the CIA describes starts running, and there's very little chance of ending in your favor once it does. It also explains why Russian recruitment numbers for 2026 are running dramatically behind target, reportedly under half of what the Ministry of Defense set out to recruit, even as financial incentives and loosened medical standards get thrown at the shortfall. Soldiers on the ground know exactly what assault means now, even if the outside world is only catching up to the real mechanics of that number. So go back to that soldier stepping out from the dugout. The 20 to 30 minutes the CIA director described didn't start the day he was drafted. It didn't start the day he arrived at training. It started the second an AI system, thousands of feet above him, decided he was worth a drone. That's the war being fought right now, not measured in miles of territory gained, but in minutes between being seen and being found. If you want the next video the moment it's up, subscribe, and drop a comment on which part of this surprised you most.